Evening all, Kieran here back with another episode, this time touching on the racing, the second day of the Winter Million up at Windsor. Obviously we had the first day today, unfortunately couldn't find any winners today, but a few of the horses ran okay. Obviously a couple of the horses that I mentioned in my previous video for the meeting actually went and won. Derry Hatton Paddy was a very nice winner of the first race, won it very nicely, and Hiratine Westwood, who won the second race as well. Obviously I mentioned him, I didn't actually have a bet in that race. I mentioned he had a chance of winning that race, and certainly they both obliged very nicely. And can't say we had much disappointment across the card, but they all ran their races. Maybe Clondall General in the first was a bit of a disappointment. He was last, unfortunately, but it wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, just couldn't find the winners. But now moving on, obviously I did the video yesterday for Ascot and Haydock tomorrow. If you haven't gone and watched it, go and have a look at it now. It's on the channel. This video is for Windsor Winter Million Day 2, which is on Sunday. Not quite sure why they split it up into 2 days like this. They have 2 days to go, but there we go. But it's an 8 race card. I won't be discussing the last race as a bumper. I never get involved in bumpers, so we'll leave that one well alone. It's a decent card, to be fair, very competitive. I'm not got that much to not many strong fancies at the present juncture, but I've got a few small each way plays that could potentially be interesting to some people. So we'll start off the first race, the Hampton Novice Chase, over 3 miles. It is 3 miles, yeah. No, 2.5 miles, sorry. And there's only 3 runners, that's where the 3's coming from. Jingo Blue is favourite for... Jinko Blue is favourite for Nicky Henderson, currently priced up at 10 to 11. We've done it nicely, first time up over fences at Uttoxeter. But that's his only start. He's 10 to 11 here. I'd be willing to watch him again over fences. I know he was very impressive first time up, and a few of Henderson's were decent first time up novice chasers. Obviously Sergino surpasses all of that, but 10 to 11 I'm probably willing to let it slide. The other 2 rivals he's got is Johnny Who. Obviously he looked very lacklustre the last 2 starts. Obviously didn't like it at Newbury when he finished third at Newbury behind the Jukebox Man, but that certainly didn't tell the full story. I don't think he ran his race, and I know everybody says he's better going right-handed, but it certainly didn't run his race, and that certainly wasn't him. But I wouldn't be running in to back him. He's at the outside of the 3 actually, so I'm not sure if the handicap is what they're looking for now for him, but we shall see. And Larry's Bar is the other one. Now he's won his last 2. But I'd be willing to, not sure whether to back him or to take him on. I'm not so sure. So rather than just having a stab in the dark at this race or backing Jingo Blue at a short price, I'm willing to just sit on the fence and just see what happens and see if we get a decent race out of it. You don't have to bet in every race. You can just sit there and watch it and sit on the fence. So moving on to the second race, the Mares Novice Hurdle. The 12:45. Now this is a very good race. Sadly, only 7 runners turn up, so for each way play, there's only 2 places, and I did fancy one in this each way, but as there's only the 2 places, I'm not willing to play that. Jubilee Alpha is favourite for Paul Nicholls, currently at 5 to 4. And she won very nicely at Taunton last time out, after finishing 3rd at Newbury. But again, like I stated in the previous video and a couple of videos this week, I'd be taking on most of Paul Nicholls' horses. I know I said that Caldwell Potter should have won today. He couldn't win today. Gidley Park went very nicely that race. So I think that Nicholls' horses are running under a bit of a cloud, if I'm honest. And I'd be willing, obviously with them potentially having their jabs this time of year as well, I'd be willing to take any of his on, and even though she won nicely last time, potentially this could be willing to take her on at 5 to 4. And you've got Chris Marr in here for Nicky Henderson, first start for him, coming over from France, obviously in the JP McManus colours. very highly regarded. But again, we're taking it on word from French Form whether she is going to be decent at this level. She gets £8 from Jubilee Alpha as well, so could be worth a chance, maybe. But she's, again, I think she's about a 9 to 4, 2 to 1 shot, so not willing to dive in on that personally. The one I am interested in, sadly, as I said at the start of the preview, only 7 runners, so we're only getting 2 places. If you can get 3 out there, potentially this girl could be a stab in the dark, and that's Siog Gull, I believe I pronounced that correctly, of Fergal O'Brien's. Now, I was lucky enough to go up to Fergal's at the start of the season, just and look at around the yard, and they all love this horse. They all said that she's going to be a brilliant mare this season, especially when she goes over hurdles. She had 2 nice starts in bumpers, and then including one at Cheltenham, and then went to Catterick and won nicely first time up. Now, she's currently priced at 8 to 1, and if I could get 3 places, I'd be all over at 8 to 1 right now. But at the moment, you can only get the 2 places, the standard 2 places for 7 runners. So I'll be waiting until tomorrow night and seeing if we can get the 3 places and then potentially getting involved. But she's definitely got a chance, but at the moment it is a watching brief unless I can get the 3 places for CL Gull. The 120, the novice handicap hurdle, 10 runners in this, so we get the 3 places. Zaraband of 4 to 1 is favourite for Tony Martin. Now, he was second in December up at Newcastle behind Scott Jack Hijack, who went on that immense run of 6 or 7 wins on the trot. That was the first time we'd seen Zaraband over a hurdle since Ascot last, I think it was November last year. So he ran a few times on the flat, but haven't seen him over hurdle in a while. Obviously, Tony Martin, if he sends him over, very wary of him sending horses over. They're normally very well backed as well. That's why he's probably 4 to 1 favourite. It's factored into the price. Another one I like, another one who could go well here is Fassel. Now, if he wasn't with Paul Nicholls, I think I'd probably be putting this boy up. But like I said previously on Jubilee Alpha, I'm just not a fan of the way the Nicholls horses are running at the moment. I'd be willing to let him go. But Fassel is a very interesting runner. First time up in trip, potentially could be a blessing for him, and I think he could go close. But there is one further down, a young 5-year-old by the name of Devon Dude of Evan Williams is now. He is 10 to 1. I'm going to only have his third start. First time into a handicap, and I think he's got a decent chance of running into a decent each way money. He's run okay on his first 2 starts and currently priced up at 10 to 1. I'm willing to take an each way play on him rather than the other 2 at 4 to 1 and 9 to 2 respectively. And hopefully he can run a decent race and run into the frame. Evan Williams also aren't running bad at the present juncture, so potentially he could be one to outrun his odds, and that's Devon Dude. In the 155, the handicap chase. Now this race is an absolute minefield. Etalon is currently 9 to 2 favourite, but you never know which one of these is running to win the race on Sunday, or whether they're being primed for a handicap further down the line. Now, Etalon, I know, has been touted. Many people have been talking about him as a potential Grand Annual horse, and there's a lot in here that could also go along that lines. And that being said, I'm going to take a swing up one. One again coming over from the Irish Sea, and that's Arctic Brazil of Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore, currently priced up at 11 to 1. Again, like I said, you're getting the 3 places, so you've got a chance. Only 10 runners in the race. Now, he's got, if you look at his form figures are absolutely shocking. I mean, pulled up last time out, not been running his race at all. But that has all been over 2 mile 4, 2 mile 3, etc., etc. Comes back to 2 miles, where he's run decent races over 2 miles behind Spallan's Tower in a novice chase, and also Mr. Policeman. He was second to Mr. Policeman in a novice chase as well. And I think potentially the drop back to 2 miles could help him. I think they've been trying to hold him up to get the trip. over 2 mile 4, and he hasn't got the trip, he hasn't got home, and he's got outpaced and just been left behind. Basically, I think if they've strongly run 2 miles and they actually let him go and let him get his jumping going, I think he could be overpriced here at 11-1, and I'm willing to take a bet on him, knowing that he's not got potentially another target down the line where some of these have. Moving on to the 2:30, the handicap hurdle over 3 miles. Jibcott is 4-1 favourite after winning well at Newbury last time. Second start after a wind up coming here, and he's gone up £8. He's got a chance, but I'd be willing to take him on at 4-1. I think he was a 16 to 1 shot when he won at Newbury. Nobody was expecting him to win that day. Now he's 4-1 today to follow up. I'm not going to be rowing in at 4-1 on this horse. He's not the most consistent in the world. We'll see where we come from there. Maybe the wind up has done the world of good for him, but 4-1 is far too short to be getting involved in. Then there's Manila Missile, who is coming off the back of a 429-day layoff after winning a Grade 2 at Cheltenham, very nicely beating Captain Teague that day. But again, can we trust? I know I said earlier on the Evan Williams also in decent form, but can we trust one off of that long a layoff in a handicap first time? Potentially he could be thrown in off this mark, but I'm not willing to risk it at 9-2, to be honest. I want a bit more each way value in it. And the one I've come down on, though, I actually backed him last time as well, is Deep Cave. There's a few people out there in the Twitter world that like this horse as well. I was there when he was 5th in November up at Cheltenham, in behind Doyen Quest. And then he then ran again on New Year's Day when he was 5th again behind Strachan over 3 miles again. And I just think the more and more racing he gets into, the more and more Christian Williams is getting to know the horse, and potentially he could have a handicap in him somewhere on the line. He definitely seems to be getting closer and closer. And I wonder if on Sunday is going to be the day. And he's currently a 12-1 shot. And you can still get potentially 4 places as well in the race. So I'd be willing to take a swing at him at 4 places at 12-1. Potentially if he goes one better than he has done in his last couple of starts, then we're in the money. And we're basically getting 5-2 a place. So happy with that. That would be Deep Cave. The 305, which is probably the race of the card, which is the Fleur de Lis Chase over 2 miles 6. Protectorat is favourite currently, priced about 11-4. Ryanair winner from last time, but he's got form to overturn from Jello from the Peterborough Chase at Huntington. And I think that Protectorat will have the Ryanair in mind. I think they've got the Ryanair in mind. I don't think they're going to want to win this, or certainly have a hard race in this, with the Ryanair not far away now. They want him to be primed and prepped for that race for definite. Jello, obviously, I mentioned, is won well at Huntington, but he's got to go up in trip now up to the 2 mile 6 and 2 mile 4. Could potentially be stretching him out. The same as Pic D'Orhy, and there's a few others in this race that have got to step up to the 3 nearly nearer 3 miles. And then the only one that could potentially be of some interest from who has run over 3 miles before is Ahoy Senor. Now, I'm not going to put Ahoy Senor up before. I was tempted to back him and put him up as a selection. But all he's a bit like Langadan, who obviously ran today and again run Pig today. He just wants spring ground. He just wants spring conditions. So I can't be going in on Ahoy Senor after he obviously struggled in the Betfair Chase. So potentially, I know he's the only one that potentially could have ran over 3 miles. But I'm willing to just give the race a watching brief and see who comes out on top. And then the final race I'm going to touch on, the 340, which is the 3 mile 4 Stayers Handicap Chase. Now this is going to take some getting. This is by the time we get to this race, especially if we get a bit of rain. I'm not sure if there's any forecast, but this is going to take some getting. Art Deco is currently favourite at 9-2 for Robert Walford. And second last time out at Exeter over 3 mile 7. you know he's definitely going to get the trip. But he's now got a welterweight of 12 stone 2 to carry. That's probably far too much weight, surely, over this distance for a horse to carry, surely. And then the second favourite, Fortunate Man, who won at Aintree well last time, is also going to carry 12 stone. Just, if they do it, fair play to them. But at that price, with that burden of weight on them, I couldn't be backing them. I'm willing to look elsewhere. You've got From the Ashes for Charles Burns, who comes over like a bit like Tony Martin. If Charles Burns sends one over, you normally think they're going to get well gambled, and this horse has no form in the book whatsoever. But that doesn't stop him from gambling them at all, and potentially they can use it as an excuse because all the reasoning for his better run is because he's come over here. But I think he's about an 8-1 shot. But I've got one and a massive price. He's currently the 25-1 outside of the party. And like I said, and like this race before, that I put a bet up in the 230, you're getting 4 places again. And it's Yippee for all you diehard fans out there. He's trained. I can't even remember who's trained by now, but he's got very decent form in the book. To be honest, he's finished second, 1, 2, and second again. One of the seconds been at Cheltenham. He's won at Exeter and he's won at Kelso. But he's won over staying trips. He's won over 3 mile 2 and he's won over 3 mile 1. He's not going to have any issues with the ground. He's not going to have any. He's won a Class 3, which this is. And I think 25-1 is a bit ridiculous. And I think he should be at least half that price. And because he's 25-1, maybe because of connections, that's probably why he's 25-1. And I'm willing to take a swing on him at 25-1. So why not? Let's get involved. Yippee-ki-yay, as John McClane said in Die Hard, is going to be my selection in the 340. So and then like I said, there's a bumper on the end, but I will not be even talking about, let alone betting in the bumper. That's for other people, not for me. So a quick summary of the selections that I've just gone through, and they will be posted on my Twitter tomorrow evening with other selections that I may have from Fakenham and Furless. But it is in the 120, Devon Dude at 10-1 each way. Now all these are going to be half a point each way. I'm not going massive on these because I'm not overly keen on some of them, but they look too big to go not to have a go on, to be honest. So that's Devon Dude in the 120, 10-1 each way, 0.5 each way. In the 155, Arctic Brazil, 11-1 each way, 0.5 each way, again the selection. The 230 Deep Cave, 12-1, 0.5 each way, 4 places that one though, as is Yippee-ki-yay, which is 25-1, which is also 4 places at 0.5 points each way. I hope you all enjoyed the video, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get as much as I can into the channel now, and hopefully you all enjoyed the video, and we have some winners over the weekend. Enjoy, guys, and thank you for listening, and happy punting.